This look, maybe not this look, but this tutorial was requested by Gemini Gaga. I'm gonna talk all about Colorfix, you guys. Keep on watching. All right, so let us start with the base, our face. I'm going to be using this foundation today. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation. Is it magic? I don't know. I'm taking 2 pumps on the back of my hand, and I'm going to lay that down with my fingers first so I can mildly disperse the product without really blending it in, and then take a sponge and press it into the skin, blending it really nicely, because some sponges leave no trace of a blend, no streak marks, no brush strokes, and that's why we all prefer to use a sponge nowadays. And now I'm just going to blend that product in. This foundation is really nice. I always do this. I always talk while I'm working on the neck. Foundation is on, concealer is on, and I'm going to move on to color. And for this video, I am going to go over the Danessa Myricks Colorfix products. This is the new packaging, squeezy tube, nice and sexy. This is the old packaging, still useful product, but the pump sometimes can get stuck. So the new packaging is a lot more user-friendly and also has more product in it, but the price hasn't changed. These products are from Danessa Myricks, and I use them a lot in my looks because working with creams is just what I prefer, as you know, to create bases and shapes and lines and everything in between. So I have these 2 products. This formula is a glaze. This is meant to be a wet top layer or even a wet single layer to the eye, so you can layer this on top of other color fixes, on top of bare skin, or on top of another eye color that's been primed and is matte and kind of lays down, unless you don't mind the product separating a little bit, which this will do to other products that aren't waterproof that are on the eye. And this is the traditional color fix, so this is meant to be just a waterproof cream base for the eye. It comes in so many colors. You guys should definitely take a peek because there's a color out there for you. There's mattes, there's metallics, there's stuff that's got more glitter in it, there's stuff that's more of a sheen. And the way that I like to work with these is just take them on the back of my hand and take a brush that I want to create a shape with. So I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to go for a monochromatic look today. So I'm taking this shade, this is Medallion, and I'm just popping a little bit on the back of my hand there. Just a tiny little blob. Now, I like to use different brushes with these products. I keep it to mainly synthetic. I've got this brush that is from the Makeup Shack, and it is the T87 brush. I have the 302 from Smith, which is more of a lip brush. And then I have the short shader E20 from Sigma. I'm going to start with the shader brush and pick up a tiny bit of that product. And I'm going to work that on the bottom lash line. So these products are meant to be used all over the face. You can use them on the eyes, on the cheeks, on the lips, but they do dry down. So if you want more of a dewy look, you've probably got to layer products over it to give it that dewy effect, or you can prep the skin so that underneath the skin is hydrated and luminous and this product just lays over it. I'm blending as I go so that this product doesn't dry down on me, and taking the clean blending brush, moving that product around. Now I think for this look I want more of a round shape, so I'm probably going to just erase that outer V shape that my hand just tends to do. Sometimes we have to retrain our hands and our eyes to either see or do things differently because we get stuck in this routine of application. Correcting that with my sponge. Again, it always helps to build your creams all at once and powder last so that you can do corrections like this. Now taking some straight onto that blending brush and applying it on the lid. As the product is drying down, I can layer more on top, pat it to build it up, or blend it. With these products, I would definitely recommend doing one eye at a time if you're still trying to figure out the shape that you want to create so that you have time to play and place without the product drying down completely to the point where you're not going to be able to blend it. Now a clean Smith 232. There's just some things that natural hair can do that synthetic fibers cannot, in my opinion. Now the glaze. So I'm going to take that product and put it on the back of my hand, and I'm going to apply it with my fingers. So I'm just dipping my finger in the glaze, getting a good amount, and I'm going to just pat that onto the eye. Center of the eye, and then upward. Layering a bit more, right at that lash line. I'm getting it all over that top lid to the brow. Now you can see on my finger, there's just a slight tint of that medallion shade that's as a base, but it's not really lifting the color. Here at the end, where the product has gotten a little messy, I can just take that brush and blend it out. Patting back in with my fingers to get rid of any trace of a brush stroke or a smear. And that's one way that I use Colorfix. Another way that I like to use Colorfix is to create graphic lines. So I'm going to continue to work on top of this eye to create some graphic textured lines to this. And that is where the Smith 302 brush comes in. So I just dip it into the product and I kind of look at the eye where I want to place it, figure it out, and I will just take that product and work it however I feel I want to work with the colors and the shapes. So placing it over the glaze is going to give a more diluted look. And I try to look at the shape from all angles so I can see what I'm doing, what I'm creating. I twist the brush in different ways to get different effects. But this 302 brush is really interesting because it has a rounded point, but it also has a sharp edge that you can create lines with. And I like that shape. I like the contrast of the depth of the color that I just placed with the depth in this outer corner down here. So it's kind of balancing top and bottom. This is really blended out. I might add just a little bit of a shape here to the outer corner. And that's where I'll leave it. So the eyes are now pretty much symmetrical with a couple of intentional differences in symmetry because I don't like things that are absolutely perfect unless it's a classic wing liner. And now I'm going to move on to the rest of the face. The eyes are done. I've added a little bit more glaze there in the inner corner, but it's just those two products. So the cream color base in Medallion and the glaze in Crystal. Just those two products on the eyes. I'm not going to add any mascara or anything to this look. I think it would ruin it. Brows combed up and left alone, sparseness and all. I'm just going to leave them as they are, and I'm going to move on to the cheeks. So for the cheeks, I'm going to take this same Colorfix in Medallion, put a little tiny, now it's really a tiny little dot on there. You can barely see it there. And I'm going to pop in just a little drop of this Marc Jacobs Coconut Primer and mix it with my finger. You could also use a moisturizer, but by blending those two together, I'm getting a really light sheen of that color. And I'm going to pick it up with my sponge and just stamp it on the cheek. So it's the same exact shade that's on the eyes, now on the cheek. And you can see that this product starts to set pretty quickly, but by blending it and cutting it with that primer, I'm going to get a sheen and I'm also going to get more playtime. Taking the excess, which pretty much leaves my hand dry as bone, and working it on the top of the forehead along the sides, and lastly on the chin. Taking my primer again, only the primer, and I'm going to add dew to my skin by just adding primer, no other products. Again, stamping in the sponge and just placing it on the cheek, there, on the bridge of the nose, on the forehead coming up from the brows, and it just barely gives the skin a little bit of glow, but this is hydration glow without changing the color at all. And lastly, I'm going to do the lips. Now, I do not prefer using Colorfix on the lips unless I'm adjusting a color. So I found a liquid lipstick that's almost the same exact color. This is Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Bohemian. And I'm taking that on an Anastasia A27 brush and applying a classic liquid lip. Now, the only thing that's going to be different about this lip is that I'm going to scruff up the edges so that they don't look perfect. And I'm just going to take that smudger brush and brush it along the edge of the lip. I think there's a time and a place for a perfectly applied liquid lipstick, but today, with this look, I think going with an imperfect lip application is probably the best bet. Last step is adding a little bit of contour. I do feel that the face needs some dimension to bring the center of the face forward just a little bit. This contour is going up pretty high. That angle is quite severe, but I like it for this look. And I'm just going to blend that out. And this is the final look, guys. This is the very graphic, very intense, glossy Colorfix monochromatic look. I play with Colorfix all the time because it's so versatile, and I can get a soft blend, a sheen of color. I can get very opaque lines, or I can easily mix and match the colors to get the perfect shade that I'm looking for. So this is how I play with it. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it was somewhat informative and it introduced you to the world of cream color and the world of Colorfix that I truly, truly enjoy. They are a staple in my kit and especially in my personal makeup because I like to play with that all the time. And to be honest, it's a quick way to get a bold look without having to spend hours and hours blending different shadows together, finding the right finish, matte, sheen, whatever. I mean, you could just take some Colorfix and smudge it on the eyelid with your fingers and have a look. Keep in mind that mixing the Colorfix with any other products such as your primer, moisturizer, or anything else is going to cut the wear time. Colorfix on its own will last a very long time on the skin and it won't really crease, but once you start putting glazes on top or 8-hour cream or anything like that, it might start to separate and to behave slightly differently. So play around with it. Let me know if you have Colorfix, if you've played around with it and how you like to use it, because I'd like to learn from you too. And let me know if you guys have any other requests. I'd be happy to consider them. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Thank you for subscribing and for checking me out everywhere else. Twitter, Snapchat, not really anymore. Periscope, not really anymore, but definitely Instagram, dominiqueldr. Have a good day, guys. Bye.